record number on the benefit. Record benefit number sparks unemployment warning.
Really?
We had Craig Rennie on, and he said something which has stuck with me. He said 4.5% unemployment is to be expected. 5.5% unemployment is government choice.
Unemployment was always going to rise a little bit. Unemployment had reached record lows during the middle of COVID. Unemployment was at its lowest level since, I think it was the 1st of September 1986, which is when we first started collecting unemployment data on a consistent basis. So there was always going to be some increase in unemployment just as it moves around. But allowing it to rise to 5.5%, that's a choice. Right. And you can do stuff. You can capitalize on the fact that we've managed to get unemployment so low. There are things you can do to keep it low. And the benefits of that last for lifetimes. The benefits of that accrue because if you keep it low and keep it consistently low, you're also reducing unemployment in communities that have always seen unemployment be very high. Māori unemployment's 9%. Pacifica unemployment is 9%. On that basis, keeping unemployment is really low because when unemployment rises to 5%, that means Māori and Pacifica unemployment is going to be 11, 12, 13%. That means you're going to see more than 1 in 10 Māori or Pacifica unemployed. This is madness. So plenty of things you can be doing. It should fall. The government always has a choice about what it's doing. It's chosen to spend $14.6 billion on a tax program that, frankly, is right now is benefiting no one. Instead, we could be using that money to be delivering infrastructure, delivering jobs, and actually setting the country up for much better growth in the long run.
So his position was that 1% difference is based on what this government is actively doing to drive it up. So 4.5% after an inflationary period is to be expected. 5.5% is engineered by the government. So government's making active choices to get it to 5.5%, Chewy.
Yeah, Brad Olson's a terrible economist. Just dreadful. Like this should shock no one. And I think this just really puts into stark relief the difference in government that we have. All through COVID, we had businesses going, inflation's too high, and the only way to cut it is to cut hundreds of thousands of jobs. And everybody just spoke in those very big numbers. It was just percentages and numbers. It wasn't people. And that's what we've got. We've got a government that has just hit the flush button on people's lives to keep the businesses happy. And so with all of these numbers and all of these, it's just a 1 or 2 percentage points. You have families going into Christmas not knowing how they're going to pay their bills. That is something that is causing real diabolical stress for people. You had people that will be looking at a complete career change. I think of, 600 to 800 people out of work in a town like Timaru.
Yeah.
That'll gut a city, like that'll reverberate through that community. That is 600 to 800 families now that don't have like half of their income. Maybe mum's still working, or the other partner's still working. But that's money that can't be spent in the region. That's families that will leave the region to find other jobs. And it is something that only plays into the hands of the employers because they've now got more unemployed people competing for fewer jobs, and a government whose clear desire is not good wages. It's a shit show, and it was not to be all Nostradamus over here, but we called it. We said that this was going to happen, but I don't think either of us, Pat, really expected it to happen in such dramatic fashion so quickly.
Yeah, and to bring context to the Timaru situation, Timaru is about 31 times smaller than Auckland. So that's 700-ish people losing their jobs in Timaru. If you're living in Auckland, or one of the bigger centres, that's the equivalent of 21,500 people losing work in Auckland. That's the equivalent. So if you're living in Auckland, imagine 21,500 people in the city of Auckland being unemployed like that. So it's
And
it's decimating.
when I talk about a cascading effect from something like that, you think about the local businesses that
Mhm.
are now having to find that they're not hitting their targets, they're not hitting their sales or revenue or that sort of thing, and then they have to cut back, and then that goes on to their suppliers. It will reverberate through those communities.
Yeah.
And that's just one example. We've got the sawmills up north, and it's always the same places. It's always these agricultural hubs, these regional hubs that are having to tighten their belts. And I have to sit there and look at that and go, is it red or blue in Timaru?
Mm.
I think it's blue. I think they voted blue. So the government's happy to share their wins. They have to own their losses as well. And a massive amount of people unemployed and now on a state benefit, that's them. They have to own that as well.